I like those chimes. Hey, everybody. Ingrid Jensen here, talking about more of the mental aspects, I guess, of playing the spiritual, mental, physical. Those are all related. All of this training to become a good student or practitioner, I prefer to think of it more from a meditational place, meditation type place, a place of stillness where rather than it's, train yourself, get down there, play those exercises over and over until they're right. What is right? Um, yeah. So thinking of a way, maybe we all need to do this as we develop through our craft. If observing rather than judging, finding a way to learn and to practice, so that as you dig deeper into the process, you take off the layers and you find more about yourself, what's underneath and what is waiting to be shared and played with one another. So there's a very fine balance between being humble and aware of your weaknesses and what needs to be worked on, and being too hard on oneself and saying, I gotta get to this place and I gotta play these high notes, I gotta play fast and loud. There's a fine line between all of it, and it really depends on the direction you're going with your music. But I do think, and I see as a teacher sometimes, that there are common mistakes, misunderstandings, and false assumptions that students make, that I made myself when I was young, thinking that I had to fit in a certain way or play in a certain way to fit in with the band. Where in the end, what I really should have been doing was just listening. It really all comes down to listening to your surroundings, listening to what you have to offer to the moment, and having that technique to launch your ideas forward with. So I like this next question too. Coping with stressful situations, fear of missing out, living up to your expectations. Let's reverse that one. If you have high expectations that you are trying to live up to and you think you're missing out, you're going to put yourself in a stressful situation. You are creating that stress unnecessarily. So I think we all have had times in our lives, or maybe not, maybe you haven't. That's even more incredible. Stay there. Stay in that space of not having stress while learning and being a student, and really knowing that the universe is unfolding in the way it will unfold. You cannot control that. We cannot control the way things happen in our lives. A lot of times things happen. Right now, this COVID thing is like completely put us all in a feeling of having no control. And I think to embrace that feeling is one of the answers to this. So coping with stressful situations, one of my main go-tos is to make sure that what I'm playing is what I'm hearing. If I'm playing something I'm not hearing and I'm trying to create a story out of words that I actually don't feel or even understand, then that's a big awareness observation. Like, okay, I'm gonna get my pen and make some notes. I need to work on such and such key or meter or tempo. So I have that freedom. So there is no stress because I'm confident. Confidence comes from knowing your surroundings, feeling comfortable and confident, but yet still having that feeling of adventure and that sense of the unknown being around us, and having the spirit to dig into that. Advice to young students. Well, to get the most out of school, approach school the way that I just spoke of, with an open mind, trying not to judge oneself too much, trying not to step back when you feel that the pressure is making you go in a direction that you aren't comfortable with, but then questioning, why am I uncomfortable? Is it something that I'm not willing to sound bad at that I have to do here? What are those observations? Replacing observation with judgment, not with judgment, replacing judgment with observation. Get rid of judgment. I'm judging myself for screwing that up, right? It's really an interesting way that our mind works. Like, we can put all this stuff and start operating from our hindbrain, which is really like super stress and fight or flight oriented, or we can go for mindfulness which is that beautiful place that's behind the waterfall of me, 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 me. Ah, I played that wrong. Oh, I should have done this. Ah, why didn't I do that? Oh, I wish I could play faster. And behind that waterfall of all that noise is this beautiful place from which, if you can play from, learn from, and just enjoy being in, will give you that feeling of all of the masters and masters. I want female masters, Jerry Allen, Terry Lynn Carrington, all of the people who I have seen who in my life I go, yeah, they've got that together. They're not wasting time with stress. Even if they have stress in their life in other places, once the music begins, there's that freedom and that flow of expression and character. Advice to graduating students. Lastly, make sure that you have a list of things you feel like you didn't complete at school, because school is busy. Keep that list, and not without beating yourself up. Look at it and go, yep, those are things I really should dig into more. There's something on that list that maybe I can actually do without. Teachers are not perfect. Schools are not perfect. This music is learned on the street. So to put it into an environment where we're told that there's some order to it, when it's social music, and in a social situation you have, in a room of 10 people, you have 10 different people. So to expect everything that has been handed to you or been presented to you in your education, to expect that to be all of the answers, to have all the answers, or to assume that there's a lot missing, it's really based on where you're at when you graduate. And to look around and say, wow, what have I got here? Have I got some tunes? Have I got a book of tunes? Do I need to put time into composing? Have I learned to play my instrument on the highest proficient level possible? Well, if not, maybe I need to get a good trumpet teacher. That's what happened to me. Finished school and I couldn't play the trumpet, so I finally got a great trumpet teacher, and then a lot of stuff started happening. So when graduating, to try not to have so many expectations that you get overwhelmed, and to really use it as a time to step back and analyze in a healthy manner what you do have, because you do have stuff. You have a huge suitcase full of resources, and so many of those, at least in my case, I found so many of those resources I didn't have time to digest while I was at school. So it was upon graduation that I really, really was able to dig in and kind of slow down and take time to learn and to digest and ferment those ideas, so that when it was time, a few years later, when I started really gigging more and playing with bands where I had to be able to read, and my reading chops needed to be solid, I had actually put in some more time to be equipped and to be free in those moments. So again, to take care of yourself from your mental and your spiritual and your physical position when you finish school, because that's a lot of stuff you've done, and to kind of sit back and reflect on what you accomplished in those years, whether it's 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, and to see what your particular suitcase of resources has in it that are solid, and then to start filling it up with more of the resources that might be missing, or of the skills, the technique, the book of tunes, the sound on your instrument. That all these things take so much time. So I'll leave you with a quote from Freddie Hubbard, which I remember vividly, when he heard a young trumpet player do an arrangement of a monk tune with with this funk groove on it, and nothing really spectacular was done to the tune. And he stood up and got kind of mad and said, no, you can't just slap a funk groove on a tune that's already so great. Thelonious Monk's tune. Like, you just play the tune as it is, and it's fine. But he felt that choice cheapened and lessened the meaning of this tune. And the most important phrase he said in his passionate response to this moment was, "This music takes a long time to learn. It takes a long time to get good at it." So, on that note, dig in, take care, and get good at it.